You look at some places, you take a look at California, you have brownouts and blackouts every weekend. The last thing they're going to be able to do is supply electric at numbers. Nobody's ever explained to me why it's so much electricity, why you need so much, nor did I care that much, to be honest with you. All I know is you need more than double what we produce right now. Think of it. So we produce tremendous amounts of electricity for every business, and this industry needs more than double that amount.
So it's a pretty baffling announcement when Donald Trump comes out and says, hey, you know that like growing rage about data centers that has already captured the majority of Democrats, the majority of independents, an increasing percentage of Republicans? Yeah, I actually love that. And we're gonna double down on that even more. And it's fascinating in that video that he admits that years into this issue, he doesn't know why data centers use so much electricity. And he apparently hasn't thought to ask. He doesn't care. But admittedly, he doesn't have to care. He knows what he needs to know, which is that he knows what his owners need him to do, which is protect them, stop regulations of them, and allow them to continue to build these data centers no matter what people think in communities across America. That is clear. And he says in his larger announcement, he's finally letting them build their own electricity. Are you not merciful? And did you not know that they could always do that? They could have always done that. They chose not to do it and will not do it until they are required to do it. And although the event that Donald Trump is speaking at is ostensibly one in which they're all pledging to produce their own electricity so that your electricity rates don't go up, it is just a pledge. Donald Trump is not requiring them to build it. And so I'm gonna be so bold as to say they're not going to, and the electricity prices will continue to rise. But anyway, it's a big issue. And for a lot of reasons, electricity is only one of them, but that's one of the, I think, easiest to grasp issues with the data center expansion. Ramesh, why don't you jump in, tell me what you think.
We're seeing a widespread backlash across supposed partisan lines, because I think also on so many levels, John, it's not about partisanship, it's about elites versus the rest of us. I think that's becoming painfully clear, and the president is a servant of the elites and a massive elite himself, right? It's just a few oligarchs and it's the rest of us. Why are we seeing such massive backlash? It's really uncannily similar to the backlash we're seeing relative to Israel. And I think these are all very connected, because we're sort of seeing an administration that's taking our taxpayer money, our resources, our economic and political capital, and putting it into directions that seem to have nothing to do with this country, nothing to do with us who are mostly economically struggling, facing economic insecurity, and really nothing to do with actual citizens of a country. And I think AI is front and center, and data centers in all of that. I mean, I remember, man, several years ago, I was on with y'all with Jair, I miss Jair, and Anna, and we were talking about ChatGPT, and I was sort of warning about it in the sense that, like, I was like, what is this all for? And I'm letting y'all know that this is an incredibly costly direction we are going down, and we need to know what the costs and the actual benefits are. And at that time, we were all, that was pretty early days, but now we're seeing it through and through. Because why is that? These so-called generative AI systems feed off our data. No one around the world, and certainly Americans, are paid for their data. It's all built on the surveillance of all of us, which is what most Americans are not interested in, being surveilled, let alone having their lives captured to train machines that are potentially going to replace us. That's a parasitical relationship, right? So many people are being forced to install AI systems run on these data centers to actually monitor everything they do, to potentially replace them and make their work and the social contract of their work less and less stable or secure. So what are these data centers? It's the way big tech functions. It's all run, the so-called cloud is a bunch of BS. It's basically run by these machines that take astronomical amounts of energy. They are very polluting. They make a lot of noise. They're trying to dump them onto indigenous and other lands, like in the United States, like in Arkansas and other spots like that. And they are very relevantly, just like we're seeing with the Iran war, driving up people's utility costs, because we are competing with these data centers for the costs around power and electricity. And the president, check this out, says that these data centers are and should be, which is what we're seeing, run by clean, beautiful coal. Clean, beautiful coal. So for those of us who don't want America to remain somewhat beautiful, we're wondering what the hell is going on. So that's why we're seeing this backlash, because they're also competing with us for fresh water, not salinated water, not ocean water. So, and on top of it, people who have their money in investments, which is almost none of us, because no one's making money and being able to make more and more money these days, are all realizing this is likely a bubble, because trillions of dollars have been put into this industry with about 50 million in revenue so far. So everyone is wondering what the heck is going on. So that's what these data centers are. They are directly competing with us and our lives, because we're right now looking at a point where it's either corporate owned machines or us. Corporate owned machines or us. That's the choice we're staring at right now as Americans and people around the planet. And that's why we're seeing widespread backlash.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the guy in charge right now is himself corporate owned, Donald Trump. He was surrounded by all of the tech oligarchs at the inauguration who bought his ass. And that is why he has done everything to give them what they want. And this dog and pony show that he's doing right now as he goes around like, oh, I'm gonna protect your electricity rates and everything. Let me tell you briefly about it. So it's the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. It flips the incentives that have led to these data centers raising your electricity rates. If a hyperscaler wants the power, they pay for the power, the generation, the delivery, and the grid upgrades that come with it. It spans every party that plays a role in building, powering, and regulating data centers, more than 200 organizations across 4 stakeholder groups. And then let me see if I can summarize the rest of these next 2 graphics. Blah, 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 blah. It's optional. It's optional. There's no enforcement mechanism. They're not legally required to do this. And when they don't do it, there will be no consequences. When Donald Trump is willing to send jackbooted thugs into the streets to gun down American citizens. If he wanted this to be enforced, he would have it be enforced. This is to waste your time. This is to make you think something is being done in the critical years that these tech oligarchs think they need to build up enough data centers for whatever it is that they're going to do. And once they've done it, it's too late and there's nothing you can do about it. And by the way, just a small note, even if this was a real thing and it wasn't gonna raise your electricity rates, you still wouldn't want the data centers in your area for 1,000 different ways. As you pointed out, there's the water component, there's the sound component, the destruction of your property value component, and of course the pollution. Elon Musk in particular is facing lawsuits because he's basically strapped the jet engines from dozens of planes just burning fossil gas and polluting communities. And Donald Trump will say, everybody, actually, why don't we play one more video? I have a second video of him saying something absolutely ridiculous about data centers. Take a look.
Other nations are trying to get us to slow down, and they're spending a lot of money on propaganda, on press, PR, trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all negative stuff. You have communities that really want the data centers. And frankly, those are the smart communities, because it means tremendous numbers of jobs, very little actual disruption. Yeah, everybody wants a community to be polluted and all that. Hey, why don't you build one outside Mar-a-Lago? Why don't you do that? Since you love it so much. Why is it that Elon Musk builds his Grok AI centers around the country, but not near his house? It's weird how that works out. No, we don't want it. It doesn't contribute anything. First of all, you get massive tax breaks. It doesn't even contribute. There's no jobs. There is literally no industry. There's no physical infrastructure that requires fewer ongoing jobs than data centers. And he'll fearmonger. We're gonna get left behind. On what? What are we gonna get left behind? Yes, I will acknowledge every restaurant's signs are now produced by ChatGPT. It's a fabulous new technology in that way. Other than that, we're years into this thing. What is it actually doing?
It's producing basically nothing. Epic apocalyptic levels of theft. Every one of these tech oligarchs should be rotting in prison for the biggest scale theft of intellectual property the world has ever seen. And for what, Ramesh?
Exactly. And he is saying, I mean, just check this out directly, right? We are in some race toward what? Right? And look at what these tech oligarchs actually see as the future of our planet, the future of our country. Many of them have bunkers. Mark Zuckerberg built several floors under the HQ, the Meta, like Facebook HQ underneath Palo Alto, like the office under Palo Alto. They believe in an apocalypse that they think they themselves are creating. It's such a weird thing. They are so into sci-fi and they don't understand the lessons of sci-fi. They're doomers. And so this is their direction that they want to take us. I remember just day 3 of this administration. Some of you may remember this. Trump was arm in arms with Larry Ellison and Sam Altman from OpenAI and with Project Stargate, saying this would create tens of thousands of jobs. Has that happened? Where are those jobs? Yeah. In fact, we in the California State Senate and Assembly, I've been working with people to try to regulate and rein all of this in. But guess who has been trying to stop that? The president with his executive orders. So it's really all for nothing. And it's a complete scheme that seems like back in the day, this would just be some sort of weird little deviant sort of issue. But this is where all the money and investment and power is going. And it's basically being all used to replace us. That's a parasite. It's a parasite relationship that these AI systems actually are. They are feeding off us to replace us. And I've been talking about this for years, and I'm a former AI developer. It's an incredible reduction and a flattening also in our own intellect, in our minds. People literally do not read or write any longer because they have machines doing that for them. But that's all based upon colonizing our minds, grabbing our attention, and sending us down these sort of nihilist rabbit holes. And that is not the purpose of technology. It never was supposed to be what the purpose of artificial intelligence was about in any facet whatsoever. But this is where this administration is taking us. They're taking us, leading us to slaughter right here with this one.
The world would be so different if any of these massive idiots had any reading comprehension whatsoever. They grew up on Lord of the Rings and sci-fi, which same, by the way, but I actually learned something from it, and they seem incapable of it. And the last thing I want to mention is people hate this, and the tactic that they're using, Trump was using it in that video, is oh, you only think you hate data centers because of propaganda or whatever. Yeah, let's see how that works for you. No, we hate it. Lots of politicians are starting to wake up. The AOC was doing her trip down to Georgia or whatever. She's got her bill to stop data center construction until protections are put in place. This is going to be an increasingly big issue. I'm hoping / thinking 2028 is going to be one of the things that helps determine who wins the Democratic primary. And Donald Trump doesn't see it or doesn't care. He's getting paid so much, and his owners are getting paid so much. Maybe he doesn't care. But Republicans hate the data centers too. Independents hate the data centers. And they're just, I guess they're hoping that we're just gonna sit idly by and let it happen or whatever. And I hope that that's not the case.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.